Well, good afternoon, and congratulations to this year's top 100 privately owned businesses. I'm pleased to be here today because I have so much respect for the organizations that you've built, the positive impact you've made not only on your businesses, but on your families, your employees, and the community. It's also great to be here with a group of people who would rather work 16 hours a day in their businesses than to work 8 hours for somebody else. Also, I'd like to thank Deloitte, the Cincinnati Enquirer, and the Cincinnati Chamber for their support of local private businesses. I'm here to reaffirm that you did build it. You did build it. And yes, we've all had help from good people all along the way. But there are some things unique to business owners who have the responsibility of making the ultimate decisions that are there are some things that no one else can do in your businesses except you. And I want to talk to you a little bit about those and share some of my story and some of the observations I've made along the way. Observation number one, you and someone in your family made the incredibly difficult decision to put capital at risk. Driving down here today, I thought back to 1977 when I-75 became my lifeline. Back then, not even one bank in Dayton would loan me any money. I'd been turned down by all 7. Now, IMS was making money. We were creating jobs. We desperately needed to build a new plant. But as I said, nobody'd take a chance on us. So I made the fateful drive down I-75, and God bless Rolf Brooks, the banker at First National Bank, Cincinnati. He was the only one in the area willing to do this deal. He loaned me $1 million. Right after he asked me to put everything I had, including my wife's wedding ring, up for collateral. And oh, by the way, many of you remember interest rates in those days were 22%. Not 2%, 22%. The toughest thing you'll ever do in your life is run your own business, putting your own capital at risk. And the beginning of that decision process starts with a dream. I had a dream that this little sleepy company in Dayton, Ohio would take on the 800-pound pit bull in dog and cat nutrition category, and that the IMS paw print logo would replace Ralston Purina's checkerboard as the recognized leader in animal nutrition worldwide. Isn't that a mouthful? I had to get my team, my board, and my family to embrace the dream. And I did so in 1985 when IMS was about $50 million in sales. One of my favorite sayings is, "Dream no little dreams, for they have no magic to move men's souls." Well, certainly taking on the market leader in the pet industry was no small dream, especially when we were no more than a flea on a Great Dane's back. If we were ever going to realize our dream, we had to turn that dream into a vision. Now, some of our aileron clients, and there are several I'm happy to say here today, hear me say all the time that a vision is a dream with a plan. And our vision was to become the world leader in dog and cat nutrition. Unfortunately, it took us 5 years to accept the fact that we had a product dogs wouldn't eat and a package consumers wouldn't buy. Now that was a big problem. And you people know that if you can't get the product right, you can forget about having a dream or a vision. Only the business owners who have put their capital at risk to create jobs and opportunities for others truly know what that kind of pressure feels like. And I applaud you for making those decisions that only you can make. Observation number 2. Planning is everything, and you need to lead it. You being the CEO, owner, need to lead it. Most business owners initially resist planning. I know I did. It's really hard work. It's 92% thinking and 2% writing. It's 98% emotional and 2% doing. I'm sure most of you in this room have a good planning process, or you wouldn't be here. You certainly wouldn't be in the top 100. But I do believe planning is everything. And the strategic planning process has to be led by the CEO. They must be committed to the process of pushing planning down into the organization and pipelining back up from the organization. Now, in 1984, we're beating on our chests. We're growing 20% a year, fat, dumb, and happy. And our planning facilitator says, what about market size? Do you guys know anything about the market you're operating in? And our excitement started to dwindle. And the more we learned, the more we found that our market was growing 30% annually. And while we were fat, dumb, and happy, we were losing 10% market share. As we find at Aileron, most small businesses do not know enough about their market. Staying focused on our vision was another challenge. We had all kinds of opportunities to leverage our brand on stuff like dog bowls and bird products and horse food, but we stayed focused on dog and cat nutrition, and we were fortunate that we did. But there were other distractions in 1984. Ralston Purina sent a couple of bean counter financial types to see me from St. Louis and offered to buy Iams out at a price of about 2 times annual sales. Oh, and they just happened to mention that they're going to come out with a new product next year, and they're going to launch it, and they're going to put $50 million of advertising behind it, and they're going to run us out of business. They said, you better sell now while your business has a little bit of value. Now, I'm sure many of you in this room, in this audience, have had these kind of significant threats from competitors, suppliers, but we stuck with our vision to become the world leader in dog and cat nutrition. We sent those guys back to St. Louis with their tails between their legs. And in 1984, 2 times sales did seem like a lot of money. But in the context of the P&G deal in 1999 for $2.3 billion, I probably would have left a little money on the table had I done that deal with Ralston Purina. Thanks to planning, we learned to look at the external reality and focus on our priorities on the future. But the way a little luck and some of a little luck and some prayers help along the way in planning as well. My observation number 3 is you have to have the courage to do the right thing in business for the right reasons, even if it means firing yourself. Because there's no one else that's going to do it. If you don't have the courage to fire yourself, when you're running out of gas, you're running out of steam, nobody else is going to do it. And one of my beliefs is just because you own a business doesn't give you the right to run it. Most people won't tell you that you're wrong. I know business owners who could walk around with their pants on backwards all day in their shops, and no one would tip them off. Most people are afraid to tell you things. So you have to challenge your advisors for real, brutally honest feedback. In 1990, the Iams board felt like we were missing some great opportunities. And we had something big standing in our way. And that something big was me. They felt we needed someone who had experience at taking a company from $200 million, which is where we were, to much greater heights. So the board recommended that we hire a president from outside and for me to step aside from the day-to-day running of the business. That was hard. That was a hard pill to swallow. We did a nationwide search and found a guy named Tom McLeod from Sara Lee in Chicago. In less than 10 years, with his leadership as the operating head of the company, You grew the business from $200 million to almost $1 billion. You see, you can't be afraid to step aside when the time is right. And at the end of the day, only you can make that decision, as tough as that decision might be. Observation number 4, and I heard the gentleman before me mention this whole issue of family succession. Invest as much care in your business, in the business of the family, as much care in the business of the family as you do in the family business. And you as the entrepreneur need to lead this effort. And there are very few entrepreneurs that I know of that are able to balance their family and their business life the way they even want. I certainly didn't do a good job of it. I did a very poor job in the early days. Being the spouse of a business owner is very, very difficult. I wouldn't have wanted to live with me back in my heyday. But without my wife Mary's support, our success would not have been possible, nor would it have been worthwhile. Mary did an amazing job of raising our 5 children while I was busy building the business. If I had to do all over again, I would have given her a lot more of my ear, and I would have said a thank you a lot more. Now, being the child of an entrepreneur is not always easy either. It's very difficult. I certainly wouldn't want to have to follow in the footsteps of some of the entrepreneurs in this room. Big shoes to fill. Your children are often faced with these big shoes and these legacies, these expectations, and you have to deal with them. That's why planning and communication with your family about the business and the succession of the business is so essential. Our family wanted to use a lot of the same professional management principles we employed at IMES in the managing of our family enterprises, including the Mathile Family Foundation. We hired a family business advisor, and he brought in a psychologist. Now, in the early days, we referred to her as the referee, because at that time, there were a lot of penalty flags being thrown within our family. I think you know what I'm talking about. Together, they helped us form a family council, which was composed of Mary and I, the kids, and their spouses. There were 12 of us in all. And to this day, most of the big family decisions are made by the council, and we are utilizing a succession plan to transfer more of that decision-making down to the second generation. While it's been a bumpy road over the last 10 years, we've been diligently developing a governing model for future generations, and I have to say that this thing is coming together really well. So I strongly recommend that you invest as much care in the business of the family as you do in the family business. I know that effort contributed to much more meaningful relationships in our family. In closing, I want to thank the Top 100 on behalf of your communities. Collectively, you represent over $30 billion in revenue and nearly 100,000 jobs. I know business owners don't celebrate what they bring to the table very often, but at the end of the day, there are contributions to our society that you and only you can make. Just think of what one job means to a family, a community, a state. That one job can give someone a livelihood, dignity, confidence, and self-worth. Very few business owners I know are bragging about being in the top 1%. They're quiet with their ambitions and their aspirations. Because of this, many of you are understood by your families, your friends, your employees, and sometimes the community as a whole. But I think I know entrepreneurs pretty well. Where others see greed, I see generosity. Where others may see self-centeredness, I see responsibility. Where others may see aggressiveness, I see fierce loyalty. The business owners I know make many personal sacrifices to make their businesses successful, not only for their own personal betterment, but for the betterment of all associated with that business. You are my heroes, and I applaud you for the risks you take, the dreams you dream, and your courage to stand out from the crowd to create the prosperity that we all enjoy. Thank you, and God bless you.